The Spanish Announce Table.
It is episode 429 of the Spanish Announce Table, and we had one of the biggest weeks of the year in pro wrestling. And we've got a lot of stuff to talk about, but even beyond the biggest year of pro wrestling, the biggest news story maybe in the history of news or wrestling news has broken out throughout this weekend as well. And hot damn, I don't even know where we're going to go tonight. You should join us live on YouTube. If you're listening back to this later on the podcast, shame on you. Shout out friend of the show, Dak Draper. You should be watching live, like our good friends Theo75, Theo P75 that is in the chat. So is Jeffrey Sills. Jeffrey Sills brings up something maybe we ought to hit on that I forgot about. He says, rest in peace, Bushwhacker Butch. Yeah. And then he says the Guns' new favorite tag team. But yeah, that is unfortunate, man. The Bushwhackers, man. What else can you say but like you're a kid our age? Like this is what you did, right? My dad was on a softball team that was sponsored by a bar named the Bushwhackers, and I was just like, hell yeah, the Bushwhackers, and I was running around. I was like their unofficial mascot.
Well, and what's crazy is that's the iconic kids wrestling team, right? I think WWE has always tried to replicate that niche with teams after that. I would even say to a lesser extent, Street Profits would probably be that team right now. You know, hey, we're stirring it. You know what I mean?
It's always a party. Always a party.
It's always something, right? But the crazy thing about the Bushwhackers is honestly, you could make a case that when they were in Australia before they came over to the WWE, when they were the sheep herders,
I think. Yeah.
And they were heels. That's probably their best work. So an incredible career. Very unfortunate.
Tom, wrestling historian. By the way, Tom has been updating you on the social medias of a random wrestling match of the day. Is that what it is? I forget.
Yeah, I just do a wrestling match of the day. So today's wrestling match, let me check to make sure I ain't fucking around here, comes to you from, is it SummerSlam? I think it is.
I think it was.
SummerSlam 2002, Shawn Michaels, Triple H street fight. So there you go.
Now, caveat, you got to go find it. Search for it on the YouTube. Like, you got to do a little work here, but Tom's just giving you the suggestion of, like, if you're I want to watch a wrestling match, watch this one.
Well, and you know why I do that is I give you the photo to like, hey, if you're trying to find it, this is what it'll look like, you know? But here's the thing that I don't like about it is, you know, for example, I listen to an MMA podcast and they'll post fight links, but it'll be to UFC Fight Pass. I don't have UFC Fight Pass because I don't fucking support that shit, right? So it's like, well, fuck that. And then I don't want to give you a YouTube link if you're like, I watch all my WWE on the Peacock. So it's just like, here it is. You fucking, however you consume wrestling, you'll find it, but this is what it looks like. So yeah, 100%.
Yes.
But Tim, I tell you what, did we do 4 lines of wrestling cocaine and snort it all at once? Because that's what it feels like. Huh?
Wrestling cocaine. Yes, that's what. Yes, it was wrestling cocaine.
Mean, there was so much that happened. We're not even going to touch on because we don't have enough time. Dante Martin broke his leg in an incredible wrestling match. Eddie Kingston and Claudio probably had their best match of their career, arguably, and that's not even going to get talked about, even though we could maybe later on. RoH pay-per-view was outstanding. We had Braun Breaker turn heel in NXT and Carmelo.
And his dad turned heel in real life.
Well, maybe he didn't turn, but we just got exposed. But you know. And then Carmelo, what's his name? Hayes?
Yes. It's Dana Brooke. Yeah. It's Carmelo Hayes. Yes.
Carmelo Hayes is your new NXT champ. And here's the thing. # tweet the table. # tweet the table. I'm wanting to know more about this guy, but I'm not going to fucking do deep dives in my own research because fuck that. # tweet table with any links or stories that I should know, any promos or matches that were like, this is the definition of who this guy is. I want to know more about him because he seems cool. He seems cool.
Right.
But yeah, all of that stuff will not get covered on the show because there's so much to talk about. And as Tim mentioned,
so much wrestling cocaine.
Biggest story of our lifetime so far happened this weekend where Tim, you're better with the business stuff. I'm going to say it with like a smooth brain idiot way of dumbing it down, but you'll give us the details of what this UFC, WWE, Endeavor mess is all about.
So Endeavor is known, I'd say, you're a hyper MMA fan, so you might chime in on these points, but Endeavor is the parent company of UFC. Now, from what you've told me, that was smoke and mirrors. That's just fancy name for we had money, we bought it, but yet we're saying, right, like we're the parent company, you're doing this, but that's all, like, they're not Endeavor didn't do anything else, right?
Right. So, yeah. Dana White still stayed in charge. The only thing that honestly changed from when the UFC was purchased by Endeavor is Endeavor was a very successful talent agency before they purchased UFC. They just fired a bunch of people from the UFC that said, hey, we're not going to have redundancy here. So instead of having two promotional departments, we're just going to have one. Right. So that's really the only thing they did. Dana White still does the day-to-day.
That's what like venture capitalists do, right? Like they invest, they guarantee you like, well, you're going to see all these increased things. And they do that by going like, well, geez, you should lay off these people and you should get rid of these folks. That's how they always do it, right? All right.
Yeah.
So, but
what I'll say on that is yes. However, it also, because again, we live in a capitalistic society, it is a little silly to have redundancy where you're I make the graphics for UFC. Well, I make the graphics for UFC. Well, why don't you just do for both? Okay.
Yeah, exactly. No, and that all makes sense, right? Like, and to this point, it's, hey, Dana, you're good at the fight game. You kind of suck at running a $1 billion business. Let us handle that kind of stuff. You do that, and then we'll just work together, right? And that's a great idea. So what WWE has done here has merged with Endeavor, and they will create a new company that is like right now has a placeholder name called like New Corp or something like that.
Well, it's going to be trading under the name TKO,
right?
You love that.
So now they will form this new company. However, like WWE and UFC will operate as like two brands together. Yeah.
You got your phone on your microphone. I hear a little buzzing in the background.
Oh, good. Look at that. Look at Tom. Technical fixing the show as we go. But so yes, they formed this new company, merging WWE and Endeavor. However, the structure of that company will be there's this Endeavor board that oversees WWE and UFC as these two separate brands, right? So, yeah, okay. They're going to do for WWE. Interesting note that I saw was WWE had more revenue than UFC. However, UFC was turning more profits than WWE. So, it'd be interesting to see how some of that shakes out. I think for me, here's the I don't know if you want to call this fun maybe, but it's if we go trace back to the Vince McMahon angle of this here, this guy got kicked off of his board of his company, forced to resign. And he said, hey, listen, media rights are coming up. I'm going to say no to all of those because I have majority shareholder power unless you put me on the company to broker a sale. He then brokered that sale to a company that created a new company that he is now the executive chairman of the board of. But still not the CEO. Not CEO, but that board now reports to him that fired him.
Well, yes. However, that is one way to definitely look at it. And it's very valuable to say that in the sense that look at what he just fucking pulled off. However, the one thing that I would say in a devil's advocate way is this is now the first time since Vince Sr. was telling him what to do that Vince has a legitimate boss. And Ari Emanuel, if you're not familiar with who Ari Emanuel is, if you've ever seen the show Entourage, which is somewhat now a dated reference, but go check out the HBO show Entourage. Jeremy Piven's character is based off of Ari Emanuel. Ari Emanuel is a hothead. Ari Emanuel is ruthless. Ari Emanuel will rip your heart out and then keep your eyes open as you die, and your heart is in his hands and he's laughing at you as you die. He's that kind of person.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised if Vince isn't only there for a short time. He just did this to like fuck everybody else over there, like do what he wanted, make his money, and then say, all right, you guys.
So, and that's the interesting thing because you have Ari Emanuel, who, as I just described, ruthless billionaire. Dana White, ruthless billionaire. A little bit more compassion shown in the past, but still just as much of a double down, fuck you, it's my way or the highway kind of guy. Hates the media because they report facts and that's fucking bullshit. And then you got Vince McMahon, who is probably the biggest psychopath of the three of them, right? And so those three in a room, I would guess, isn't going to last long. And who's the oldest of the three? It's Vince. So that's why, yes, don't be shocked if in 2025, Vince says, hey, what a ride. This was great. I'm going to go sit on a beach for the last year of my life or whatever it is, right?
Or another rape allegation comes out and they go like, hey, you should
well, and that's,
too.
But that's the thing here is so now they're a publicly traded company where he isn't the CEO. So if that shit happens this time around, he can't just do the hush money himself. This shit has to hit the fan.
How does this work? So, because I like the overall thing was like 51% of WWE stockholders own the company and 49% of Endeavor. But like, Vince now doesn't have this majority shareholder situation in his back.
That's what I'm saying.
Correct?
So if Ari Emanuel says, hey, the fire's getting too hot, you got to get out of the fucking kitchen, Vince can't double down and say, fuck him, I'm going to do a promo on SmackDown. It's like, get the fuck out. You're not the boss anymore. You know what I mean? So that's the interesting part.
Put your stuff in a box. And
we'll put it in a trash bag with Mickey James's shit, and you can go fucking to the back
waiting
door.
in your Uber downstairs. Get the fuck out of here. That would be fun. That would be fun, but that won't happen. I mean, hey, maybe.
So there's a ton of thoughts that I have. I actually took some notes. I know we don't fact check or do any checking here, but I did because I got.
Well, let's jump in with a quick tweet the table. Because
let's do that
before we get into that, this one's quick, and I think we need to touch on it before we go further. Vince McMahon doing this went full 80s soap opera villain, went 40s evil villain tying a damsel in distress to the train tracks with this mustache that he's got going on. And we got to tweet the table about it. Use hashtag tweet the table on Twitter to tell us what you think about wrestling all throughout the week. Theo75 says Vince McMahon looks silly with that mustache. Hashtag tweet the table. Silly isn't the word, is it?
He looked like an audience member for the original debuting song of Pennies from Heaven that MJF sang. Right? Like he looks like the guy that originally saw that song being performed.
Just weird.
I mean, 1940s, smoking, film noir, bad detective who gets shot in the first 20 minutes. That's what he looks like.
Yeah.
Dick Tracy's understudy.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
So like I said, I wrote down some thoughts, and I know we don't fact check and we don't do a lot of prep here, but I got brain fog. So some of this shit I wanted to remember so I didn't forget it while we were talking. So, Tim, if you don't mind, I'm going to share some of my thoughts, bounce them off you, and then see what you think here. So, a couple things that I thought of with the combined UFC WWE deal. As you mentioned, TV rights are coming up, right? And generally speaking, in mergers, one company isn't going to re-up their TV rights and then the other company let it expire. And then we have this weird kind of jigsaw way of doing television or pay-per-view, whatever it will be, streaming now in a merger. So typically they're both going to wait till, hey, we're both done. UFC's with ESPN, WWE's with Peacock and Fox, right? So they're both going to wait till that's done. Here's the interesting thing. Even though the numbers still aren't there 100% and streaming services are starting to scale back as far as like, we're not just going to give money to everything because it's not really quantity over quality, as HBO Max is finding out with 70% of their staff getting fired because of Discovery mergers. Don't be shocked, however, in my eyes, if you see UFC, WWE combined in one app, and here you go, take it or leave it, Peacocks of the world, or we'll do our own fucking shit. And now you have a streaming service where you can watch UFC 162 and SummerSlam 98, right? Yeah. So that would be, well, I'd love that. That would be great for me. So don't be shocked if that happens. Now, the second thing, and I think this is the more interesting thing from a outsider's perspective looking in, and I think Jeffrey Sills said this, is, when you had mentioned the profits, he says, UFC makes more profits when you pay your fighters nothing. Try not paying your superstars, and let's see how many superstars they'll have left. That's the model for the UFC. Their heavyweight champion, arguably the most marketable fighter potentially they've ever had. This guy's name is Francis Ngannou. He hits, it was measured at the same rate as being in a 45-mile-per-hour car wreck in a sedan. That's how hard he hits you, right?
That's it, huh?
And he has these immigrant stories where he lived on the sand, he went to Paris, lived out of a car. Like, his story is a Disney movie with violence, right? And he's their heavyweight champion. And he said, I want to get paid like a heavyweight champion. Fun fact off of that, he got paid $600,000 in his last UFC title fight. To give perspective, Rocky Marciano in 1951 got the same amount.
Ooh.
Okay. Tyson Fury makes 10 million a fucking fight in boxing. So Francis Ngannou said, hey, let's try to pay me a little more. And the UFC, being notoriously cheap, said, there's the fucking door. And he doesn't fight for the UFC anymore. Right. So now that's when, not the Roman Reigns. I'm not interested more in the Roman Reigns' contract negotiations. I'm more interested in the Shinsuke Nakamura. Right?
Right.
Shinsuke Nakamura's contract comes up. Hey, I'm an international star. You go do a show in Tokyo. I'm your main event. All this shit. Back in the pre-merger days, Vince might say like, well, goddamn, we'll get 4 Tokyo shows this year then to get Mars money's worth. Ari Emanuel might say, go fuck that guy. He ain't on our TV.
Yeah.
When's the last time you saw him?
Right.
You know, last summer.
Well, he's going to say, listen, we've talked about this. He might say like, hey, listen, the moves don't matter. We got tons of guys that we can get for a fourth of the price that can do those moves. And if you're not going to give me a goddamn good story, then they can just fucking go on there and do the moves themselves for a quarter of the fucking price.
Right. So that's the interesting thing, is all of the contract negotiation behind closed doors where these, you know, higher mid card, lower top of the card kind of guys come up. And what does Ari Emanuel say when Vince says, well, we typically give them this kind of sweetheart deal because they did a good favor for us when Roman had COVID or whatever. And he's like, well, I don't fucking care. It's 2024 or whatever it is, right? So that's my next thought. Now, flipping over to the UFC side, because so far we've been focused on WWE. Obviously, we're a pro wrestling podcast. So that's
we're
where
pro wrestling's best podcast.
Obviously, duh.
Yeah.
But I do want to go to the UFC side of this merger. And obviously, you know, Floyd Mayweather, Conor McGregor is the highest watched or second highest watched boxing match of all time. And why is that? Because of the drama, because of the storyline. A boxer versus MMA, all of that stuff. A white guy versus a black guy, outspoken guy versus outspoken guy, all champion, all that shit, right? Imagine with the production staff and talent that the WWE has to make you fucking care about a Miz John Cena WrestleMania match like it was the greatest thing in the world. What they could do with real fucking fights, like real knockouts and real fucking, you know, hotel drama shit. You know what I'm saying? So like, I'm interested in what the stories of, assuming they go over there, what they can tell that side.
So you don't think the UFC invasion is happening, right? Like Roman's going to be out there one day on the mic and the UFC invasion is going to come in.
No, but I tell you who's the most fucked from this. So here's my next note. Who's the most fucked from this whole entire merger? Brock Lesnar. How many times did we hear in his contract negotiation, well, fuck you, Vince. If you don't like it, I'll go talk to Dana. And then when Dana was like, cool, come over. And he's like, oh, you don't want to give me that extra pay-per-view bonus? Well, fuck you. I'll go back to Vince.
Well, now
now
they sit on the same board. You can't, right?
Yeah, go fuck yourself, you know? And he's older, but yeah, still, you know what I mean? Like, if
but nobody could do that kind of thing now.
Right. Exactly. So, no, I don't think now, maybe those aging gas bags in the UFC, you know, not necessarily, he's not in the UFC anymore, but he's in Bellator. However, like a Rampage Jackson, don't be shocked, right? Like people like that, I wouldn't be surprised if they show up in WWE a little bit more. And I wouldn't be shocked if, you know, Israel Adesanya, for example, is a huge pro wrestling fan. I think I showed you this a few months back where he came out to the Undertaker's song, you know. I don't be shocked if the next fight he has, assuming he wins this weekend, which he probably won't, but assuming he does, if he's in the corner of Seth Rollins when they're doing whatever to lead up to a UFC fight of his. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So currently, I think with this situation now, Vince kind of is back in charge. And, you know, we like to discuss what we talk about or what we see on the TV screen. Now, however, this is a big news item, but there's been a lot of discussion about what does that mean for creative? Is he actually back in charge of creative? And we got a tweet the table from at Brian J. Bay. He says, Triple H coming out with a promo like he just lost his job, # tweet the table. Where do you think that kind of stuff lies? Do you think Vince is back in that game? And
yeah, I think, not knowing anything, right? I don't know shit about Dick,
right?
But I would guess Triple H is now in that Eric Bischoff, Paul Heyman role, where it was that big splash of look who's running Raw and look who's running SmackDown. And as soon as that, you know, number dipped just a little bit, it was, well, they're out of here. Vince is taking over. Triple H has never been on thinner ice as an outsider's perspective than he is right now.
Interesting.
Now he did. It got reported by the Forbes of the world that with this merger, Nick Khan got $15 million and Triple H got $5 million. So it's not as if they didn't
Nick Khan's
make out.
President of WWE now, right? In this new company. Yeah. Oh yeah. No, I mean, look, they all made money, of course, and they're going to continue to make money because that's their reward for everything they do is getting money. But Jeffrey Sill says Vince was back in charge for night 2. WrestleMania happened, right? Theo earlier said Happy Wrestling New Year. That's kind of generally the feel from wrestling fans around, right? WrestleMania, unless you have some stuff to close up on this WWE.
Well, I was going to say going into WrestleMania, yeah, two of the things that I made an observation of from WrestleMania that I think deals with this merger that you're going to see a lot more of. Well, one is, as we mentioned already, that I have written down, layoffs. You know, the Wrestle Talks and What Cultures of the World that report on all these layoffs. You're going to have a fucking video an hour for the next 2 weeks of 10 to 200 people getting released, right? But the other thing that I think you're going to see a lot more of from a pro wrestling's perspective is if you're interested, go Google the UFC Octagon. That shit looks like NASCAR on crack with all the advertisements. And as you saw from WrestleMania, TurboTax this and Cinnamon Toast Crunch that. That's the new norm. Yeah.
Not only did we see it, so did our fans, the Spanish Announce Table Nation. And we got another tweet the table, which again, follow us on Twitter at Table Show Tom. Live tweets during big events. Always out there making friends. And you know, a few enemies. But we got one from at Justin Flores says, if matches are able to be sponsored, wrestlers should be able to have sponsors on their gear. # tweet the table. And yes, they should. However, what Tom said is going to happen. They will outfit the ring and everything else. The wrestlers, no, you can't do that. No, it has to go through us first. If wrestlers are sponsored on their gear, it will be through WWE, Endeavor, whatever, New Corp, whatever we're going to call it. Like, because they have all the power now, as you were discussing, right? Like the power struggle here between performer, fighter, whatever you want to call it, and company here grew a little bit wider in this.
Well, and if you are going to see the sponsorships, it's not going to be, wrestler driven. It's going to be, you're putting what on my gear? We're putting this beef jerky shit on, they ain't going to be the ones making the decision, but you might see sponsorship on their stuff.
That's what I mean. Yeah. Like some guy's going to come out in a biker gimmick, but he is going to say Skittles on the back of his ass.
Yeah. Or he's going to be the Harley Davidson rider of the week. And he's going to come out and they're going to have a feud between a Harley guy and a Kawasaki guy. And that's the whole fucking 3-month feud is what bike is better. I'm the better motorcyclist than you are.
Hey, Tom, I think you hit it right there. They're going to start doing that. We discussed how I said, man, it looked like you guys were trying to go into this like pro wrestling with the stars kind of motif. And that leans just kind of right in what you're talking about. Like, hey, we can set up these storylines to be commercials for you if you sponsor this match and give us $5 billion, whatever the fuck it is.
Yeah. God. I mean, just go back to WrestleMania. Oh, Christ. What one was it?
Yep.
The WrestleMania that Booker T wrestled Edge. If you remember how that fucking started, it was over a fake shampoo conditioner ad. Remember? Booker T had it. Edge stole it from him. It was this international. We didn't really have a fucking thing. That's going to be real now. It's going to be the head and shoulders battle of the locks between, Seth Rollins and AJ Styles, and the loser has to shave their head. Yeah. That's what
DOP says the ring mat will have Flamin' Hot Cheetos printed on it. Yep, that's going to happen.
Like I said, you might have a fucking sponsorship just.
Well, you know how the ring apron is now a screen anyway. They're just going to have a rolling. It's going to look like a goddamn baseball outfield just constantly rolling.
Yeah, it's going to look like a NASCAR race, except for they're not cars. They're just advertisements. It's like legitimately advertisements. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's going to be bullshit.
Yep. They're going to
WrestleMania.
Have record profits. You know what I mean? Yeah. Record profits.
Record profits. Good for you. And that's the other thing too. That's, I've said this before in episodes long ago, but I always hate when people are like, a big time fight, right? Like going back to that Conor McGregor, Floyd Mayweather fight, when they're like, do you know how much money they're going to make? And it's like, it's yours.
Yeah, it's your money.
It's your fucking money. You don't have to support any of the shit.
Yeah. That doesn't make me want to watch something because they're going to make a bunch of money doing it.
Exactly. And that's what I'm saying. Let them be short-sighted and go for the quick money grab and have, PF Chang's racist wrestler of the month, and you don't fucking watch it.
And then it was just the easiest, to spot, fake fight. They just didn't even care to pretend it was real for whatever. Mm-hmm. The next sponsored tag team match, the Marlboro Man and Harley Davidson versus Skull Man and Kawasaki Biker Dude, says Theo P in the chat. Right there on the YouTube chat. You should be following us on the YouTube as well. We are youtube.com/SpanishAnnounceTube. Or if you just search in the YouTube, you can find us at Spanish Announce Table Podcast. Tom, WrestleMania, man. Listen, I'm going to be completely honest with folks here. I didn't watch it. I watched things later, a match, or two back later the next couple nights. But Saturday and Sunday night, I didn't watch it.
I did. I watched both nights. I live tweeted during both nights of WrestleMania. I'm going to steal this from someone who I can't remember, but I saw it online. And they described WrestleMania like this. Saturday night was the night when you get back with your ex and you forgot about all those great memories. And you're like, hell yeah.
Things feel great. Yeah.
And then Sunday night.
This feels good. I remember this.
Yeah. And then Sunday night, you remember why you're not fucking dating anymore.
Yeah.
Exactly. That was WrestleMania. Saturday night was pretty good. Saturday night had some fun stuff.
I told you, I was like, I didn't watch any of it yet. And you were like, what the fuck else did you do? But then you were like, it was a fun night of wrestling. And I was like, okay. And I saw positive reviews. So that's where I was like, all right, I'm going to go back and watch a few things.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And, I watched a few things. And then Sunday, I didn't watch it all. And I didn't see such a great review from Sunday. I'll say that.
It was bad. Yeah. So let's go real quick. I'm going to go night one, 2023. Mm-hmm. I'm going to just.
Well, I know how it kicked off, and we'll use hashtag tweet the table to introduce it, unless you have something.
No, yeah, for sure. Yeah, let's do that.
It started with John Cena and Austin Theory, right? And at Theo75 says, I hope Austin Theory beats glad-handing Cena and retains the U.S. title in front of those Make-A-Wish kids. That would be awesome. Hashtag WrestleMania, hashtag tweet the table.
So I'm going to jump ahead a little bit, and we can do a little bit more of a deep dive when we get to it. But I thought, honestly, the most fascinating thing to me was that John Cena brought out these Make-A-Wish kids and lost.
Yeah.
And then on night two, Cody gives his belt to -1, who, again, lost his father, former wrestler Luke Harper in WWE. Yep. Brody Lee in AEW, and lost. And it was like, hey, that's the spot where they win. Like, if they have the Make-A-Wish kid, you let them win. Like, nope, fuck you.
And Cena, I mean, I know you're acting and maybe you have to keep a certain hair for a look for a role that you're currently doing, but man.
Oh, it's god awful.
Maybe let's wear a skull cap or something.
Yeah, let's go Hogan-esque and just wear the fucking bandana. It's fucking bad. Well, and that's the other thing too, is he's been balding for a while. This is not a new revelation. he was balding in his prime, but he had a short haircut where he ECW'd it and he, accented the positives and hid the negatives. And this is like, nope, look at that fucking thing right there. That fucking
looks like the eye of the hurricane right there.
Yeah. No shit. Yeah, it looks like a weather map from Florida.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fucking horrible.
Yeah, man. God, what else was? I don't know. The night ones was that the tag team
night
match?
One.
That was the tag team
night
matches,
one.
right?
Yes, night one was the tag team match. So some of the duds, and no offense, but some of the duds, in my opinion, John Cena, Austin Theory, that was a SmackDown match that they just happened to do at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
The multi-man tag match was fun. The Street Profits won, but nothing was out of this world. That's a standard, again, SmackDown kind of match, right? Seth Rollins, Logan Paul, that had some good spots, and it was got your celebrity stuff.
Oh, you have a tweet table about Logan Paul.
Oh, let's get to it.
Yeah, at Brian J. Bay says, Logan Paul coming in on a zip line? Look, dude, you aren't Shawn Michaels. Hashtag tweet the table.
Yeah, I mean, I think he knew that, right? But I think the spot where Logan Paul's going to do the dive through the table and Seth Rollins grabs that other influencer named KSI and he hits his friend, that kind of thing, that was fine too. Becky, Lita and Trish beating Damage Control was fine. Nothing astronomical happened there. But for me, I was going to say it's the entrance of the year, but it was topped on Dynamite. But at this time, the entrance of the year was Dominic Mysterio just hitting all the fucking notes you need to hit to be that fucking idiot character that he is.
Yeah.
Just great.
Yeah, I mean, he's been much better to watch in this dumb character that he's playing. And I don't know what portion of it is he's just lucking into playing this well or he's really honing his craft and getting better, but whatever. He gets his props for this because he's become I like him now. You know what I mean?
It's
I'm like more of this, right? Yeah. It's so easy to be like this guy. What a douche,
the highlight package, the highlight package of his time in prison, and then him coming out with the security guards that he didn't need, the police officers wearing the Rey Mysterio mask as just another jab to Rey. Just fucking awesome.
But man, I don't know that I would have had Rey win this match. I don't know.
No,
I don't know.
We talked about it in our picks. The perfect thing here to do was to retire Rey. Dominic then takes that mask, right? So this is how I would have done it with given the hindsight that I have. He walks out with that mask on, right? With the 4 police officers. He's in handcuffs again, just going over the top, right? They do the match. He does the stuff with his family, all that. He still beats Rey. And then he goes to put that mask on, throws it down, goes to grab Rey, takes his mask off, puts that mask on. The daughter and the mother run into the ring to help Rey. He walks out. Ha ha ha. I'm the fucking coolest guy in the room. That's how you do it.
Should have, but they didn't. Jeffrey still says the mask had me floored.
Yeah, it was fantastic. Yeah. Charlotte versus Rhea Ripley, though. Emotionally, I thought the match of the night was KO and Sammy versus the Usos. That was the payoff of all the months of storytelling, right? But just hey, what match would you watch again? Charlotte versus Rhea Ripley was that fucking match. These girls, Sheamus and Gunther each other
the YouTube chat
20 minutes.
Is talking it up. They're giving it all kinds of stars.
Yeah. I mean, it was the female version of Gunther Walter versus Sheamus. It was awesome.
Speaking of the KO and Sam, we have 2 tweet the tables. Katie First Lady says, who would have thought Kevin Owens would be main eventing WrestleMania 2 years in a row? And Mr. Fourth Row says KO and Sammy as tag champs should be a lot of fun. Hashtag tweet the table. And you're taking umbrage with the first thing I did too. That's not the WrestleMania main event. I know they call it a main event, but
it's not.
It's not.
It's not.
It just
and even on top of that, let's also pump the brakes. Tony Stewart. Last year was a talk segment that turned into a wrestling match. They fumbled that shit so hard that they didn't even have a fucking match.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Vince really fucked that whole segment up too.
Yeah, well, because he's fucking garbage. Yeah. Person and a performer.
But KO and Sammy as tag champs, of course, it would be fun. You could pick 10 different storylines that KO and or Sami Zayn do over the rest of their careers, and you could say to each one, this should be fun, and the law of averages is telling me you're going to be right most of the times because those guys are that goddamn good.
Yeah, I will say, though, kind of the fallout as you kind of peek into Raw, the weirdest thing for me, and again, that show, the Raw after Mania, was fucking boring.
I watched none of it. I heard it was the drizzling shit.
Very boring. Very, very boring. But the worst indictment of the whole thing was you just had Sammy and KO conquer the Usos. They issue an open challenge. And guess who doesn't fucking answer it?
The Usos.
The Usos. What the fuck was that? The fucking Street Profits did. And that's fine. But like, huh? Don't make no fucking sense.
It doesn't make any sense, but that's what they do there. They don't make a whole lot of sense.
Yeah, and so then night 2, you had some fun. Brock Lesnar and Omos was fun. It was big men smacking meat.
Right.
You love that.
Yeah.
The women's 4-way. Yeah, love it. The women's 4-way, shit. Just bad all around. The match of the night for me was, again, I'm talking as far as like, hey, Tim, you didn't watch any of this. This is the match you should watch. Was Gunther.
Yes.
Sheamus and Drew McIntyre. Those motherfuckers got a standing ovation from Michael Cole that was as legit as they come. He wasn't told to do that. He was just like, this fucking thing was the best.
I have heard that this is the match. This is something that's on the list to like go back and watch because I haven't watched anything of night. Well, no, I did watch the main event of night 2, but But
that was the fucking best. Edge, Finn Balor, that made news because Finn Balor got busted open the hard way, like really
I saw the
deep.
pictures of that, like on the top of his head, and it was.
But again, look, guys, if we're gonna say it's a Hell in the Cell, you can't stop it because of blood.
Yeah.
You can't. I'm sorry. That's just the rules. You don't stop it, right?
Right.
That match has been such a bastardization of what it originally was conceived that just needs to stop.
Yeah.
You know, they stopped it when Seth Rollins and the fucking
at least rush a finish, right? If you think, oh shit, we got to get him out of here,
then rush a finish.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that match with Edge and Finn Balor, then you go back to the Fiend and Seth Rollins stopping in a DQ. Like, it's fucking, the match is done. You can't come back. It's done. Bye-bye. But, okay, and then you had Roman Reigns defeat Cody, and we can talk about that. But the moment of the fucking night.
I know, yeah. And I saw this. I had to go back and see this. Tom is speechless. He's laughing so hard, no sound is coming out of it. His face is as red as...
to a better person.
Yeah. This is... So, Miz is the host of WrestleMania, right? He's the host of WrestleMania. And on night 1, who comes in and beats him up, right? Somebody beats him up on night 1. I forget who it was. And, so they're running...
McAfee.
Oh, yeah, it was Pat McAfee. So night 2, they run the same shtick back, and here comes the money. And out comes Shane McMahon. Who back when he was talking about the Mean Street Posse was saying, trains on the best equipment that money can buy, right? The best supplements money can buy. Hires the best trainers that money can buy. Does one leapfrog and rips his fucking quad.
Tim, the best part of that whole fucking thing, though, was at the exact moment that his quad fucking explodes. You hear Michael Cole say, well, Shane still got it.
Yeah, well, he had it.
Oh, my God. Oh, fuck that guy. That was so great.
Oh. Yeah. Tom instantly told me I had to check that out that night because you were like, you have to go see.
Oh, my God.
Good times.
Oh.
Something's up with that family and the quad tears. Probably has something to do with the WWE nutrition guys.
Oh, it's the chicken they eat. It's
yeah,
the
it's
chicken.
the chicken, right?
Yeah, it's
the growth
obviously the
hormones in the chicken that they eat.
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God. That's the moment of the life for me. I love that so much.
I don't know if you've ever laughed this hard on the show
Oh
ever.
my God. I'm sweating. I love that so much. Oh God, I love it. I love it. I love it so much. I just love it. Okay. Whew. Okay.
Right.
And then Roman.
Mm.
Okay. Roman then beats Cody. And so
that was weird too, right? I guess I just I thought I even originally picked Roman and you talked me into picking Cody. Right. Because it just felt right. It just felt
at a high level overview.
Yeah.
I will say this. If you go back, and I can't remember again, sorry, whoever I saw this online, it's probably someone more famous than me. So that's where I stole it from. But the point that they made is, hey, if Cody wins, this is the easiest road to a championship of all time.
Yeah.
Never once did Roman send the Usos to attack him. He had a match with Solo Sikoa that was legit one-on-one. Here we go. Beats the lowest ranking member of the bloodline. And nothing. There was no adversity to getting this championship match except for winning the Rumble when she came in 30th.
Yeah, true. No, you're right.
And then he just wins the title. So that made no fucking sense.
No,
I didn't think about it that part, but yeah. So for Roman to lose it to a guy that just kind of does a waltz, into it. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was running the risk of the same thing, right? Of just us being we don't want this. Like when they originally pushed Roman, when everybody wanted Daniel Bryan, right? It was running that risk. So maybe it averts some of that disaster, maybe.
Well, it kind of also ran the risk of Cody and AEW, right?
Yeah.
Where it's just hey man, you're trying a little too hard.
And you speak about this worst Raw after Mania ever, and Cody then teams up with Brock Lesnar, and then Brock Lesnar does Brock things. We got to tweet the table about that. At Katie First Lady says, "Are we all just realizing that Brock doesn't play well with others?" # tweet the table.
Yeah, and it was cool. What I liked about it was the setup. How Paul Heyman said, look here, we're not fucking dumb. So if you're wanting this tag match, can't be someone debuting. It has to be someone who we saw at WrestleMania. That was cool. Mm-hmm. And then the second thing was, and then if they team with you, they can't wrestle Roman for the championship. Well, fuck, who would take that? But then you go back to SummerSlam, which was one point of kudos I will give to the cohesiveness of the storyline is, well, Brock lost that opportunity at SummerSlam. He's going to fucking take it tonight. Yeah, why not? So I liked all of that. That was pretty interesting and entertaining. I also liked, just because he's a fucking nerd, Brock Lesnar beating the shit out of Cody. It fucking made me happy. And again, I'm talking about the character. I don't know the real person, the character, Cody. And so that made me happy because fuck that nerd,
So listen, when I saw the ending, because I watched that, right? I want to see how they went, right? Is Cody or Roman? Roman won. I was kind of I like that.
Yeah.
Right? I was I didn't want Cody to win this. Yeah.
Well, because now it makes it even more of a Herculean effort to beat him because Cody didn't even do it at WrestleMania. So when will this happen?
And that guy solved racism.
I mean, come on. And he can't beat a Samoan at WrestleMania? You know who's going to do it, though.
Who's that?
Because Vince is in charge.
Who's that? Is it? You think that's going to happen?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
The Rock.
It is going to be.
For you listening on the podcast, Tom was holding up a Rock action figure to the camera. This is why you should watch live. YouTube Thursday nights at precisely 7:15.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's 1,000,000% now, The Rock. Now that they've sold to Endeavor and they're looking to make every penny back, because that's the other thing, going back to the merger of all of this and the acquisition and stuff. I think if I read this correctly, it puts Endeavor at $5 billion loss right now with everything they've done. Everything. They're at a $5 billion loss. So if you don't think they're trying to get every fucking penny out of every fucking thing, you got another thing coming. So it's not going to be Jey Uso. It's not going to be Jimmy. It's not going to be Sammy. It's going to be the fucking Rock.
Jeffrey Sill says The Rock won't be doing it either. Roman is breaking Bruno's record. He would be champion for like 5 more years, I think I saw, to do that.
Hey, look, it still might break Bruno's record, but it's going to be the fucking Rock. Even in 5 years, it's going to be the Rock who does it.
You think The Rock's going to break Bruno's? Right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's gonna be The Rock who beats Roman. That's what they're doing. 1,000,000%.
I tell you
hey,
what.
Look. No, let me tell you real quick. I was motherfucker on this podcast day one-ish, as the Usos used to say, that said when Vince got kicked out, no, he didn't.
Mm-hmm.
And look at here now. I'm not right on a lot of things, but when I am right, I fucking tell you about it.
Right. Yeah. I will definitely remind you that I was.
I will remind
right.
you. So be ready for this next year.
Yeah, I watched some of this WrestleMania, but this week, their biggest week of the year, right, and the biggest news ever, didn't do anything for me wanting to like give it more shots. You know, I just don't like this product. I don't like the folks.
Yeah,
and I think I'm sticking with AEW for a while.
Well, I even said this last night during Dynamite, but I stand by this. The first 30 minutes of Dynamite, which we'll recap here in just a moment, was better than the last 7 hours of WWE programming. 1,000,000%. I'll take
100%.
that 30 minutes over the 7 hours
100%.
every single time.
You know how much I smiled?
Oh my God. So let's get into it, Tim. Last night from Long Island, New York, we saw AEW Dynamite, and it kicked off with the match, air quotes. It was Juice Robinson.
Rock hard, Juice Robinson.
Rock hard, Dalton Castle, Juice Robinson.
Yeah.
Taking on, because it sounds exactly like him, taking on Ricky Starks. But psych, it wasn't a match because Jay White, who was a big rumor that would he be at WrestleMania, would he not be at WrestleMania? He was on Dynamite. So we don't get a match. Jay White immediately attacks Ricky Starks with Juice Robinson. Bullet Club, pew, 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 pew. Rubber Band Club for life is now in AEW. Tim, what do you think about the placement of Jay White here? What do you think about him debuting? All of the
I think this is a good way to debut someone, right? To introduce a new character into this thing going on, right? So we tease the delivery of the match that we're all wanting to see, right? All of us in quotes. And we get Jay White. I haven't been sold on many of these Bullet Club, we made our name in Japan guys across the industry much. You know what I mean? Like Kenny Omega, I'll say, is probably the one who I think is the most esteemed in my mind.
Yeah.
But the rest I can do without, right?
I agree.
Yep. AJ Styles maybe, of course, is up there. Where's that guy been?
Yeah. I mean, he made his name. He rejuvenated his name in Japan, but he was an Impact guy more than anything else. But
where's he been? Is he injured? We seen him in a
he
while.
broke his foot.
All right.
Yeah.
So I mean, just Jay White. I'm like, okay. Yeah. We're bloated here in AEW. We've talked about this. I don't know what we're gonna do with the Jay White that's gonna move me.
Well, here's the thing that I'm the most worried about is, Jay White is this internet darling. I even said that I'm not the highest on Jay White, and I was met with a lot of, you need to check out his work. I've seen it, right? And we even saw him in AEW before. If you recall, they did that match where it was Adam Cole and Hangman and Okada. So we've seen him before, not saying I hate him, but my biggest concern, my biggest concern though, is we're just going to sacrifice Ricky Starks after he beats Jericho, goes through all that bullshit with Jericho. This is his next thing after all that.
Yeah,
and
that's the thing is
beat by Jay White.
Well, and so the caveat of that is, well, maybe he doesn't. Maybe he overcomes Jay White. Well, then what does that mean about Jay White?
And the Bullet Club, because it's gonna be Dalton Juice Robinson here. And so what the fuck happens? Like, then they're just schmucks.
Yeah, it's gonna be Juicy Robinson.
Yeah. So like, unless you have another fucking person that Ricky Starks teams up with.
Rock hard Juicy Throbinson, right?
Oh, you know who they need to Tim.
Light bulb went off over Tom's head.
Yes, this is how you need to do it. I get that he has something going on. We'll get to it a little bit later in the show. But this is how you pivot out of that because it's going nowhere. And how you get your homegrown talent over the Bullet Club without the Bullet Club necessarily looking like complete idiots. You have this 2-on-1 dynamic going into All In, which we'll talk about again, the announcement later on in the show. But you do Juice Robinson, Jay White beating up Ricky Starks, beating up Ricky Starks, beating up Ricky Starks. And then you have Ricky Starks say, hey, I'm done. I'm done. I'm going back to my roots. Challenge you to a tag team match, you two versus me and a mystery partner. Going back to my roots of who Ricky Starks is. And you go back to who you can trust. And you know who he has as his fucking partner? Hook. You have Hook and Ricky Starks take down this Bullet Club. They just say, fuck yeah. And then they can go again apart from each other. But that's how you get both of them to look fucking great, beating the Bullet Club. And then again, it's Hook and Ricky Starks. So like the Bullet Club doesn't look too stupid.
Yeah. I like that. Because you can even throw in a one-off backstage interaction with Powerhouse Hobbs, right? Like he can be kind of staying in the corner while they're doing something and being like, fuck. Right? Like,
yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, Powerhouse Hobbs wouldn't even be a bad idea either, because you could just say he's tired of this QTV bullshit. He's hanging around. But now they have real beef. Because the thing with Hook that I was thinking about is that Hook beat Ricky Starks for the FTW championship, but then shook his hand and then just left.
Right.
Like it was just, we're good.
Yeah.
That's why Hook and Ricky Starks.
No, that's what I mean. It would almost just have to, just that like side eye kind of thing, being like, the fuck is going on here? And they'll be like,
you could even have, Tim, let's have fucking fun with this real quick. You could even do it this way. Have it done this way, where Ricky Starks is on commentary for Jay White's in-ring debut with Juice Robinson at ringside. Jay White beats Serpentico, right? Whoever the fuck.
Probably that.
And then they're just talking shit to Ricky Starks on commentary, and Taz just looks over. Like you go to the commentary team and Taz just looks over and goes, you know what you need to do. And Ricky Starks is like, takes off the headset and just leaves. And then the next week says, I challenge you, mystery partner. And there you go. It's fucking Hook. Taz made it happen at the commentary booth.
Yep. You can even just have them like, they inadvertently touch Taz while they're fucking with Ricky Starks at commentary. And that just sets Hook off. And then like Hook and Ricky Starks have this thing be like, one more time? I'm like, well, all right, one more time. We'll ride one more time. Beat these motherfuckers' ass.
Too bad they don't have like a hand gesture like the Shield, because like remember how fucking cool it was when Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose finally got back together?
Yo, here's what it is, right? So they're messing with Ricky Starks, they're shoving, they accidentally bump Taz a little hard. Hook comes out, lays waste. Ricky Starks staring at him. He looks down at the commentary table, grabs his bag of chips and offers them to Hook.
Oh
yeah, the chips.
The bag of chips.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, the bag of chips.
It's in the chips. Yes.
That's a fucking way to do it. Guys, snacks.
That or wrestling cocaine, but we'll probably go with the chips.
Yeah, guy snacks. If you're going to go with chips, guy snacks.
The inventor of the barbecue potato chip. So you know it's going to be good. Guys, potato chips out of Kansas City.
It is my favorite. Like, so I've done so many shameless plugs on here that I didn't get paid for because I like guy snacks that much. I'm being dead serious. Sour cream and onion. Wow, barbecue's very good too, but sour cream and onion, that's mine. All right, so then we go backstage, and Jericho is talking about how Adam Cole won his match last week over Daniel Garcia, and he just doesn't fucking like how he celebrated. Hey, and look,
which makes sense. It's plausible. It's logical.
He's like, I don't fucking like that guy. He needs to learn some respect.
Well, even that, he was like, listen, you did your thing. You had your celebration, you had the girl, but then you kept doing it, and now my guy's got to walk out looking like an idiot in your streamers and shit. Like, that makes sense. How about that? That was fine.
Yeah, 100%. And then he even says something to the effect of like, he has no respect. I don't like the disrespect. And Keith Lee goes, what'd you say? Hey, me and Adam Cole, we've had battles before, alluding to NXT and other places, but NXT most recent. And I don't necessarily 100% think that guy is on the up and up, but you disrespect people all the fucking time. And he big brothers them, and he just like stands over him, and he's like, so next week in Milwaukee, kicking your ass. And he's like, oh shit. And there we go. What do you think about that?
I like that. I like when Keith Lee's dad came out and punked out Chris Jericho and then walked away. But I like how
that salt and pepper look. I love it. Ooh.
But then Tony Schiavone just kind of like fucking with Chris Jericho with his things like, he's gone. Yeah, you all right? Yeah, it's like, you're gonna get your ass kicked. So that should be fun. But I guess it's maybe they're just pivoting away. Maybe they got wind that like people really didn't care to see Jericho, Adam Cole, and maybe we're gonna do this pivot off to Keith Lee, or is this just a step in the way to Jericho getting Adam Cole?
Yeah, it's still Jericho, Adam Cole, and then this is a way to reignite that feud between Swerve and Keith Lee.
So Keith Lee's going to be out there. Jericho's going to be in trouble, but yet somebody gives Keith Lee's dad the old KCCP, and it's Swerve and his guys that need acting classes.
Well, hopefully he has a special announcement on a live episode of Rampage. And again, we record this on a Thursday night, so we don't even know what that happens because typically it's recorded. But I'm hoping that the announcement is, I've dropped those guys. Fuck them.
Jeffrey Sills says, I'm loving the salt and pepper look on Keith Lee. And yes, it does look good on him. He says, he always reminded me of the Beast from X-Men. And yeah, we have, I think, an episode title about that. Yep. Yeah, you said he is Beast. Yeah.
He is Beast, 1,000,000%. So yeah. All right, so then we get into the ring, and we have our first title match of the night. It's the Trios titles, House of Black taking on Orange Cassidy and the Best Friends. And here's some fun. We got a lot of good fun. I think everyone got to do their thing. Tim, what do you think
Sue.
of the match? Oh, and we got Sue. Sue was probably the best moment of the night. It was like heartfelt. Like I pop more, legitimately. I even said this on Twitter. I pop more for seeing Sue than I did Jay White.
Yeah. I also like how he fucked up opening the door on the van and it tried to shut back on him. And they just laughed about it and they're like, fucking
vans and these automatic doors. God damn.
Good times.
This technology. Yeah.
Yeah. Sue. God, that should be their entrance every time. Like it should be Sue. Now I know Sue can't run the road, so.
Well, every pay-per-view, if they have a pay-per-view match, it needs to be Sue. 1,000,000%.
Yeah.
Or at least picking them up. If they win, picking them up.
Yeah.
One of the two, right? So yeah. And here again, we got all the fun stuff. We got an Orange Cassidy doing the slow kicks to
Malachi running it?
Malachi Black. Yeah. We even got fucking Matthews picking up a win doing the curb stomp. You know, shouting out his old mentor, Seth Rollins from the WWE days. And House of Black wins. Nothing was bad about this match. I thought we got all the fun shit in it. Trent did a fucking pile driver to Brody King, for Christ's sake. That was cool. So yeah, all in all, a fun match, I thought.
Yeah, I agree. And I mean, you can't go wrong if you got Sue.
No way. Yep, of course. All right. Then after that, we go backstage and we see a returning Christian Cage. Christian Cage looks into the camera, essentially says follow me, motherfuckers, and walks into the red light, and we are met with the demon dinosaur, Luchasaurus.
Yeah, Luchacanosaurus.
I mean, god damn, he's scary as fuck.
Growing extra spikes out of his
Get
shoulders.
More dinosaur-like.
More dinosaur-like. I liked it. God, it was good, right? Christian is easily one of the most hateable faces in wrestling. And so him not even saying anything, even though he's one of the best heels on the mic, he can just look at somebody and be like, nah, you need to be punched right now for looking at me that way. And he looked that way into the camera and he's just like, you know what I mean? Back in. And then he said, out of the red and the smoke and just here's this dinosaur. Right. And and that's it. I love the simplicity of it. Loved all of it. Good stuff.
Don't forget, as rumor has it, if you believe in those kind of things, Vince McMahon hated Christian Cage's face so much that he tried to put a blue dot over it every time he wrestled. So one person for sure hated that fucking face. But who do you think they go after? Because I think Jungle Boy's kind of passed them up.
Yeah, I don't know.
Where does he go?
I don't know. Who's a baby face right now that just kind of... Because Ricky Starks comes to mind, but he's busy. Hangman's busy. You're talking MJF? They're going for the title? What are you?
No. I'm talking about the guy that was just in this last match we were talking about.
Oh,
the international champion, Orange Cassidy.
Orange Cassidy?
Take his ass out because he's already running on fumes.
That's true.
Right.
Then you get
Christian
a title.
Cage sees the opportunity, give him the title, running on full speed there.
I could get down with that.
Yeah.
And then Orange Cassidy wouldn't care to go back and be like, whatever.
Well, okay.
Yeah.
Right. What else are we doing?
He's an easy guy to drop the title because it's believable that he doesn't like, I'm getting it back, right? He's just like, whatever.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
And Christian Cage as your mouthpiece for a championship without actually having to wrestle?
For a monster, a legit monster? Luchacanosaurus?
Yeah, I think that's where I would go, but who knows? We'll see.
Big red dinosaur?
All right, Tim. Hey, this one, I mean.
Ooh, before you do that, you see the shirt I'm wearing? You know where I got that?
Where?
Pro Wrestling Tees.
Oh.
Pro Wrestling Tees has the Spanish Announce Table on it now. All you got to do is search for Spanish Announce Table on Pro Wrestling Tees, or it's even prowrestlingtees.com/Spanish Announce Table. We made it easy for you. Buy a shirt. You'll get a shirt. We'll get some money.
Yeah, it's a win-win for everyone.
Win-win for everybody. But you were saying.
Speaking of something great and also surprising, rip my quad and call me Shane, we had a fucking women's title match.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like Hereditary, the quad rips in that family. Tom has been getting so much joy out of this quad rip. He's been laughing this way since, Sunday? Saturday?
I've watched it probably 10,000 times. It's so great. You see the chest trying to fight through it. Fuck that guy.
Or Shane McMahon.
Okay.
Yeah, what a night. Okay. What a night.
Okay. But seriously, Tim. We had a women's title match in the first 30 minutes of the show.
Yeah, interesting, right?
Incredible. I was so happy for him.
Right.
This wasn't the main event where you got the extra pressure of having to make sure you earn that spot. It wasn't right before the main event like it always is. I thought this was great. It legitimately surprised me and made me interested to say, well, this isn't where it's supposed to be. So what's going to happen? What should happen here? Right.
Right.
When you change the cadence, you catch my attention. And so, again, women's title match, champion Jamie Hayter taking on 98 pounds of Rio. And here's what I'll say, because my wife, who was reading, overheard that they said Rio weighs 98 pounds. And she's like, are you serious? And I was like, I mean, I think that's serious. Like, we saw her. And she's like, yeah. I was like, yeah. So I think she may be 98 pounds. And here's what I'll say. Pro wrestling is not a sport. It's not real. It's theater. We've had Rey Mysterio beat the Big Show. So shut the fuck up a little bit. However, the problem I have with Rio the most is she does the dives that you need to do as a smaller wrestler, but she doesn't have the speed of a smaller wrestler. So with Ray and Juventud and even, Eddie Guerrero in WCW and Jericho, early in his WCW career, they had this speed that when they went up against the Scott Halls or the, Bam Bam Bigelows, whoever it was like,
it was the rapid fire. We don't know where you're landing, so I can't hit you with my slow punch. Right.
Right. And so with Rio though, her speed is kind of the same as Jamie Hayter. So it's like, okay, how the fuck are you going to beat her then? Yeah. Right. So that's my only issue with her wrestling style being that small is, unfortunately, if you have the athleticism, I hope so, but you got to speed that shit up to make it a little bit more believable.
Jeffrey Sill says Jamie Hayter is the best, but to sell out that stadium, you might need to drop it to Saraya and have her give it back in London in the main event. And more on that later, of course. But he says Hayter hasn't had a bad match her whole title reign. And I think I'd agree with that.
Oh, remember that main event she had with Hikaru Shida where she that was hard hitting. You want to talk about female match hard hitting? That was right up there with them.
He says Rio just needs to carry a pipe everywhere she goes. Well, yeah, that would help.
Well, I forget her name. Jeffrey.
If she became this generation's version of the Sandman, where she was just rolling out with a pipe and was just, you know what I mean, bonkers, crazy, hitting people with the pipe all the time.
I mean, you could make it a mix of Spike Dudley and Sandman, where it's, hey,
like that.
This small person probably is going to get fucked up. They most likely know they're going to get fucked up.
They're going to
try.
They're
also crazy and they're going to have a pipe. And so
they're not going to stop trying. So you're going to have to like kill them.
Exactly. Now, the thing with, so we'll get into Wembley. We'll get into Wembley. All right. So Jamie Hayter wins. We go back to the backstage. The Outcasts mock Hayter and say, we're going to win that title. We don't care who it is amongst the three of us, but we're going to win that title. Sure. And then we go back to the ring, kind of, because we get the Jericho Appreciation Society 2.0, and they say, let's get Acclaim's response.
Yeah.
And Acclaim comes out, and they cut him down with every bar. They're pulling the George Santos line. They're pulling some other fun shit. I mean, the crowd's loving it. Everyone's loving it. And you would think 2.0 would be mad. And here comes Cool Hand Luke, and he's like, yeah.
Yeah. So it sounds like you guys want to fight together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So on Friday night, we're going to get an 8-person tag with 2.0 and Acclaimed. What do you think happens here?
Yeah, I think they may drag this out a little bit more, and we'll maybe get a payoff next Dynamite, right? I thought it was, to me, JAS understood what happened, but yet they're still playing along. Like either they think they can convince the Acclaimed, or they're like, yeah, we get you, but you wait to see what's coming for you at Rampage or whatever, right?
Like they got embarrassed, but they went with it, knowing that the backup is Hager and Garcia fucks them up.
Oh, you think I'm an idiot? Just wait.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right. That's a good idea. All right. So then we come back from commercial, and it is MJF Day. Tim, MJF gets a key to the city, does an interview with the local news, I believe it was. But the only time I could ever say, it looked like he broke character. It looked like he was legitimately like happy and honored to get a key to the city. That did not seem like MJF. That seemed like whoever, Max Friedman is, or whatever his last name is. And so he comes out to celebrate, and we get pennies from heaven done MJF style with the big orchestra band. Crowd is singing along.
Oh my God, this crowd was again, it's Long Island. He's getting the key to Long Island, his hometown, but like I love how much of a face he is in Long Island. And this goes throughout the segment, how on a dime these fans were for MJF and only MJF.
Yeah, and it was 1,000,000% because we get MJF coming down to the ring. One person they were definitely not for was the fucking governor of New York.
Oh man,
they hated that fucking guy.
The mayor of Long Island or something, right? Or something
mayor,
like that. Yeah, I don't know what he was. Whatever they call it. But yeah, they booed the shit out of that guy. I like how MJF is even like, hey, listen, he's giving me the key to the city. Don't screw this up for me, right? They're still booing him. But I love how he even plays it off when he's like, all right, thanks. And he's like, fuck out of here. You know what I mean? He's like fuck this jerk off. Yeah.
I mean, that was funny, but that was definitely a miss. I don't think that politician, mayor, whatever he was expecting that.
Well, and maybe he knew to expect it, because kudos to him. He sold it, right? Like, I mean, he's still like, he wasn't nervous. He was still delivering that thing loud and proud into the thing. So either he knows enough to know I'm getting booed when I walk into this place and I just got to deliver, or MJF or somebody smart enough, like, just keep on script. They are going to boo the fuck out of you, but just keep on script. Either way, it came off great, because I love how he was just oblivious, right? Which, he's a politician, right? So he's just fucking, boos are just raining down on him, and he's like, that's why we love this guy. It's so fun. So fun.
So good. And so then MJF goes into story time with MJF, as he typically does. And he talks about how a teacher, when he was in grade school, basically called him out every time.
Like that,
yeah, something like that. Called him out because he has ADD. And
this was a she, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, she. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, she. And how she always would say, answer this question, he wouldn't know it. And so answer this question, she wouldn't know it. And so on the last day of school, she was like, well, what do you want to be? And he's like, I want to be a pro wrestler. And she's like, that isn't going to pay off for you. And then in long story short, he's like, but look at me now. So don't be like the teacher's name. I can't think of what it was. And be a stupid bitch.
Yeah, he said,
don't be a stupid bitch.
we have that now for eternity in the Spanish announce table.
Don't be a stupid bitch.
Yeah, we'll have to throw that out every once in a while.
And then he said, if you're a Long Island kid and only a Long Island kid, follow your dreams and work hard, and you can be like anyone except for MJF. Because he's better than you. And they even go, because you know it. I mean, fucking eating out of his hand. And so then MJF goes up the ramp. He's like, hey, guys, let's do one more. Encore, motherfuckers. Like, get this shit going. Someone messes up. Go ahead.
Jeffrey Still says, they gave the key to the city to a guy who admitted to committing a crime when he was getting a BJ.
I mean, it's Long Island,
you, right?
Yeah. Sounds very on par with everyone else.
Surprised he didn't already have the key to the city.
Yeah. Surprised they didn't give it to him on the scene. So then he goes to do his encore, and someone in the band messes up. And MJF goes over to him and chastises him. He's like, we've been practicing this, don't mess it up. And he comes back to the microphone, and it's Jungle Boy. And we get a pull apart. Again, like you said, credit to the crowd. They hated Jungle Boy. They did not like his ass.
So yeah, as they're rolling, whenever Jungle Boy would get on top, the boos would thunder down. And then when he would get flipped over, it was instant, yay! Right? Like, it was so fun. So fun. That crowd was so great.
And then in a thing that I thought was good theater is as they were pulled apart, the belt falls in the middle of them. And hey, we go to the next match. Well, who is that? It's Sammy Guevara. And Sammy Guevara grabs the belt and is like, doesn't this look good on me? And the crowd doubly hates him. They already hated him ahead of time. And now they hate him for taking MJF's belt. So he holds it up, boo, all that stuff. And he gets it in Jungle Boy's face, and then he throws it to MJF, makes his way down to the ring. I really like that.
Oh, that was great.
Like,
yeah.
Oh, hey, look at
all
Sammy.
That cinematography was great.
Very good. And so then we get in the ring, Sammy Guevara taking on Commander. And I know we say moves don't matter, and by and large, they don't. However, this Commander motherfucker
he's got some moves.
Running the ropes and not falling once. God damn.
Takes a lot of wrestling cocaine.
The ropes. Yeah, he did a run the ropes shooting star press onto Sammy.
Yeah. Yeah, he's impressive.
One take.
Yeah, one
this
take.
isn't a movie.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? One take. That's pretty impressive. I will say that. He did a couple, but he lost. But he definitely did a couple bumps of that wrestling cocaine before he walked out.
Quite a bit.
He had the focus to fucking do anything that his mind was made up to do, except for obviously win.
Hyper focus. So I've heard with the cocaine.
Yeah, I mean, right? I mean, that's in the movies.
Right.
We watched movies before.
Right.
So yeah.
Yes.
Sammy Guevara wins. And then post-match, I thought this was honestly probably Sammy's best promo. He gets on the mic, and again, getting booed out of this fucking building. But he says, hey, MJF, the last time you beat me was because of Sean Spears and a chair shot, you fucking asshole. And then he says, of all these pillars, you got here because of other people, Wardlow, Sean Spears, Pinnacle, Inner Circle, all of these things. And I got here on my own, which is not fairly 100% true. But he's like, so screw you for thinking I'm not a champion, and screw this city, Long Island, New York. And then, you motherfucker, And he goes, I'm going to be the champion of AEW. I thought this was good. What did you think of the promo?
Same thing. I mean, again, I thought the thunderous boos helped for him to lean in and just be as vicious as he needed to be for this. I wouldn't say Sammy Guevara's promos have ever really been a weak spot of his game either, but I do agree with you that this is probably some of the best work we've seen him do, at least in a long time.
I've always felt that Sammy's, and this is me being older man wrestling fan, his promos have always felt a little young. It always felt like a kid.
Yeah.
It felt, and this one felt like a man.
Right.
This felt like I'm about to do some shit. Not like I'm going to do it. It's like, he has a bass in his voice.
I'm the best because look how pretty I am and I can do all the flips. Right. And then like, you're like, okay, but It'll mean something when
Fuck
you get
you.
punched in the mouth, right? And now he's a
Right.
guy's like, I'm ready to punch somebody in the mouth. And you're like, there it is. There it is. Right,
Yeah. That was the difference for me it was the tone in which he said it. So, all right. So then we get back into the ring for the FTW title. It's Hook versus Ethan Page. And this was fine. This is probably one of Hook's weaker matches because it wasn't about Hook. It was
Correct.
Matt Hardy and Isaiah Cassidy distracting, hitting Ethan Page. Well, shocker. Didn't see that one. I think it was 2 minutes and Hook gets the victory.
Yeah.
Fine.
Yeah. But hopefully it can just seal that up.
That's what I'm hoping. I don't want a firm, Ethan Page, Big Bill, Leonardo, not Leonardo. What the fuck is his name?
Dana
Who's
Brooke.
the black guy? No, who's the black guy?
Lee
Moriarty.
Lee Moriarty.
Yeah.
Yes. I knew that the whole
taking
time.
on Hook, Cassidy, and Hardy. That's what I don't want to have happen.
It's very memorable to Lee Moriarty.
He does the little dance.
Yeah.
Tiger
the
style,
Cisco guy?
Tyga style. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
Cisco. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what I hope.
Old
doesn't
guy
happen.
reference.
Yeah, no shit. Yeah, we thought Bow Wow was an old dated reference. Fuck, it was 20 years before
We're
that.
talking about the thong song now.
Fuck, that was turn of the millennium, 1999, I think it was. So yeah, we'll see what happens. But we move on and we go to our big announcement. And it is Nigel McGuinness, newest member of the Ring of Honor commentary team, Ring of Honor legend, former champion of Ring of Honor. And he is with wrestling cocaine out Tony Khan, because he took all those bumps of wrestling cocaine. He didn't blink, I don't think. I'm not sure he blinked.
Didn't blink. Yeah, man. So,
Look,
does he not watch these back? Don't you see
Well,
it in
so
yourself?
That's what I was going to say. So I told you this. Ariel Helwani leaned into this whole he does cocaine. And whether he does or he doesn't, that's not for me to say. It's way better than being a sexual predator. So that's the first off, right? I don't always think, though, that every time we see Tony Khan excited, he's on coke, right?
Yeah.
I think what we're seeing is a kid who was a wrestling fan now getting to be a kid with all these toys who are actually humans. And it's just so exciting that he got the brand new Bryan Danielson toy. Look at this. This is so much fun. And he doesn't know how to act. And then on top of that, he doesn't have feedback. I don't think anyone after that promo that he did, Adam Cole, Nigel McGuinness, camera guys, whatever, was
like, dude, you just stared right in the camera and read the cue card the whole time.
Hey man, good enthusiasm. Next time, blink.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone
Take
fucking
a breath.
said that.
Yeah. Man, it's so crazy to me that people with these resources, that when they get in these positions, like when they know, like, I'm going to be a CEO or director, are you not taking like public speaking courses or have a coach or a...
It's that blind confidence where you're like, well, I got this far so by myself. Why would I need someone now?
Yeah, it's because of
That's
my
what it
genius,
is, I think.
right? It's not. Why do I need them to coach me? I'm the genius.
Yeah. Look, the way to do a promo is not to fucking blink. Like, I don't know why these fucking people are blinking.
It. Like, I mean, I think there's some cocaine residuals going on. I'm not going to lie, but like, he may not be of like just hit a bump and coked out, but I think he's so nervous about messing up that he's like reading that word by word on the card because he doesn't want to appear like an idiot when he messes it up. So I've got to make this announcement, and we're so happy and we're so proud and smile now to Adam Cole, right? Like he's so, I think, like you said, locked in on that. And then my worry is like, I know you're busy and you're always going, but like, you don't watch it back, you know?
You
don't see it yourself. You don't.
Yeah. And with this, you could have done a pre-tape. It could have been like, hey, take one, need to blink. Let's do it again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You didn't have to do it live if they did it live.
Yeah, somebody needs to get Tony a thing that like, we don't need him for this.
Right.
It's fine when you come out at the event when the cameras are off and you're like, everybody, thanks. We love you so much. Like, that's heartwarming, right? Like, that feels cool. Fine. But these on-screen announcements of your big things, like, man, let's get a director of communications out here or something.
Mark Henry.
Yeah. Just
something.
anybody, like you, even if it's a suit, I don't care, right? But like somebody that knows their way around a speech.
Yeah, those post-match or post-event Tony Khan speeches are fun. By the way, at the last one, I got to scissor him. Did you know that? Me and Tony Khan got to scissors.
Jeffrey Sill says the Snowman is about to sell out 90,000 seats, a place WWE hasn't been since SummerSlam 92. This is ballsy for Tony to try, but I do feel like Wembley wouldn't have given him the stadium if he couldn't. I think we know enough about the British wrestling fans over there. They're going to go to this event, right? They clamor for these events. They can't get enough of them because they don't get enough of them, if we're probably being honest, for how fervent these fans are over there. So, yeah, they very well might, but Impact Wrestling could have went over there and might have got, maybe not Wembley, but probably could have drew way more than they ever would, right?
So if you believe all the wrestling statistics and all that, consistently AEW outdraws WWE across the board every single week. Like, it's not even close. It's AEW, it's Dynamite, Rampage, SmackDown, Raw. Like, that's how it goes in England. So they're number one over there.
Yeah.
Now, to get to this announcement. So Nigel introduces Tony Khan. Tony Khan then talks about how, hey, these revolutionary guys, the Young Bucks, Kenny Omega, and Cody, which I thought was an interesting time to mention Cody. They came up with this event called All In. And then I got involved, and then we have AEW. But to honor those revolutionary guys, we're going to do AEW All In. And so I thought that was really interesting that you could have. Now, one of the camera guys made sure to have a laugh my ass off Cody sign that they showed. I don't know whose decision that was, but they had that sign shown.
They may have threw that sign out there. They may have been like, hey, somebody hold this.
Right.
Yeah.
However, Tony Khan verbally praised Cody. So I thought that was interesting to do it of all weeks. You did it this week to praise Cody, right?
Yeah.
Then on top of that, he introduces again Adam Cole. And let's review all of these big announcements. So this one, they're going to Wembley Stadium, as Jeffrey Sills said to us here. Wembley Stadium. Who's going to be the AEW guy that talks about it? Adam Cole. We go back. We say, we're doing Forbidden Door. It's New Japan and AEW. Who does the announcement for that? It's Adam Cole. Is Adam Cole going to be the fucking president? Like, why is he in all of these announcements? He's never been champ.
Maybe he does some office stuff and they, you know what I mean? Maybe they're grooming him for that. I don't know. But yeah, it's odd. It is weird. I don't know. Again, like, you were there to make your announcement. You were making the announcement, and then you were just like, now to talk more about it, Adam Cole. So why didn't we just have Adam Cole do the whole thing?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Or why don't we have Tony Khan just wear sunglasses?
Well, and like, why did Nigel McGuinness have to like stand there and watch you say it the whole time? Why was he there? Right? Like, we could have announced Nigel McGuinness at a different point and then had you or just Adam Cole. It was all weird. Yeah. Yeah.
It was a little clunky. But the thing that stood out to me, besides Wembley Stadium, 92,000, was that Adam Cole was just like, again, talking some shit.
Well, and Jeffrey Steele says he'll have the talent to pull it off, and let's not forget about that forbidden door that stays open. Yeah, it's not a forbidden door anymore. I don't know why the door is not forbidden. It's the glory hole.
It is the glory hole, obviously.
Right, it's the AEW glory hole.
We helped AEW with that months ago. Mm-hmm. Here's the other thing that I will say that I'm going to bet on. I'm going to bet we're probably going to see the biggest stage in AEW history. So I don't know if 92,000 are going to be seated, because there might not be 92,000 seats available.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But it's going to be packed. Like, it's going to be packed.
But it's not going to be Tyson Fury fight, right? Like, go watch a Tyson Fury card when he last boxed last year in Wembley Stadium. That was a ring and a walkway, and that's it. Mm-hmm. Like, this is going to have way more shit than that. Yeah. So let's also but it's wrestling, so they probably, fit in 97,000 people, they'll say. You know what I mean?
Right, of course.
So we'll see. I'm just excited because the thing that's interesting, if my calendar is correct, I believe All In is a month before that next pay-per-view that they're building to.
So they've got to do 2 major events.
Right? Because so they're saying this is in May, right?
I didn't catch when. Yeah, I don't know.
I think so. What did they say? August. Oh, it's August. January, February, March, April, May. Oh, September is All Out. That's what it is. So it's All In August and All Out in September.
Okay. Interesting.
So here's the thing that I'll say to you, Tony Khan and Locker Room. You guys want to fucking be profitable next year. We need to have, and I'm just saying it because I said it when it happened and I'm still standing by it. We need to have, and I'm spoiling the main event here, but we need to have the Elite versus CMFTR as your fucking main event. CM Punk and FTR versus the Elite. That's going to, Tim, a returning CM Punk.
I don't want CM Punk to return. I don't
look,
like it. I don't like
look,
it.
you don't want a straight edge, grumpy asshole confronting the guys he legitimately punched in the face live on television.
Not really.
You didn't like Jerry Springer?
I mean, I'm not signing up to watch it again.
I will. I'll watch 100%.
The thing about the CM Punk being back is, yes, that moment might be cool, but it means on the backside of it, we get another moment like we had when he left, and we get more. And the guy won't ever go away and stop crying about how I don't get all of the respect and only the respect and nothing but everywhere I walk. People don't fucking smell me and say my ass smells rosy fresh. How dare they? Fuck
except
that
for
guy. Yeah, except for FTR
and Danhausen.
That's why he likes them. But like that, I just I can deal without it. He doesn't do anything that much better than others that makes me want to put up with that.
I agree, but here's the thing that works in our favor, your favor, anti CM Punk full-time favor. He's gonna get hurt again.
Yeah, right.
He's gonna rip a
make
quad.
It to right, yeah.
He'll pull a Shane McMahon and rip it.
Yeah, high ankle sprain.
I hope he debuts like Shane. Oh my god, I love that so much. I hope they have an action figure of Shane ripping his quad.
Yeah,
that would make my life. Okay, so that was the announcement, and then I'm not even gonna say this was a match. Blackpool Combat Club, an
action figure with a removable quad. You can just rip the quad off,
or you just replace it with a rubber leg, so you try to put pressure on it and it just like falls into itself. That's great. Fuck Shane. I'm not even gonna say that this next one was a match. Blackpool Combat Club beat up 3 people that were not even announced.
Yeah,
and that's fine.
Yeah.
Post match, Bryan Danielson says, "You know what? I love my family. Love them to death. You know who also I love? I love Jon Moxley
ripping that
guy's
fucking
guys in, whatever he was doing.
Right, he was like Claudio. Ripping that guy's mouth or something. Whatever he said.
Yeah. He goes, I like Claudio. Claudio just looks like an action figure, I like Yuta, and Yuta is a fucking asshole.
Yeah, even though he's a dick or something, like whatever he said, like even though he's an asshole. Yeah.
Yeah. And Yuta was like,
he's right. Yeah.
And then he says, these 3 guys were probably hired by those EVPs. They're amateurs. And you know what? Everyone's an amateur. After this weekend, I'm starting to think we're the only professionals in this country.
Impotent amateurs at one point. He was on something, man. He was on that wrestling cocaine.
Yeah, I'm telling you, wrestling cocaine will get you to that next level. And Danielson is just calling everyone amateur. You're all amateurs, amateur.
Yeah.
Well, then that brings out Hangman Adam Page, cowboy shit. And he's just talking shit the entire time. Like, you fucking assholes. What did you think? I'm not going to come out here and kick your ass? Of course I'm going to come out here and kick your ass. And he does it because it's 4-on-1. And here's the biggest plot hole of the night. So I understand maybe what we're getting with, but we should have got a backstory of why his friends weren't there, because Hangman's getting beat up and Danielson's calling him an amateur. And then he's saying, I love these guys. I love everyone in the Blackpool
As
Combat
each
Club.
one like trading punches on him, he's like, I love
Yeah.
Moxie, and he's hitting him. He's like, I love
You know.
Claudio, and he starts hitting him. That was a good
Right.
touch. Yeah.
Yeah, that was great. And then he goes, no one loves you. No one's going to come out here and save you. And then he takes a fucking screwdriver to his head.
Yeah.
Which good.
Yeah, but the plot hole here is, as you've said, like, people do love Hangman. They've come to his aid against these characters before.
Yeah, we just had a couple weeks ago Evil Uno saying, like,
we were all ready to put the belt on Evil Uno, you know?
And his point was,
yeah,
we're here to save you. It's time for let us save you. So earlier in the night, you should have had something where Dark Order says, like, hey man, if you want to fight those guys, it's on you this week, like, or something. Or hey, Young Bucks and Kenny Omega are hurt.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, Young Bucks and Kenny Omega, they're not here because of injuries or something. But like,
you could have had somebody like Hangman's like, you know, alone back there, and he's, you know, talking to Evil Uno, and he's like, your fucking flight was delayed, you know, like something.
Because when you don't tell us that story, we know he has friends, and then you fast forward to this, all I was saying is, where the fuck is Stu and Evil and Johnny Hungee?
And that's the thing, is like him saying like, you don't have anybody that loves you, but like they proved that already. They came out and fought against, like, you weren't there, Bryan Danielson, but you know, he was up against Mox, right? Like they were like, fuck you, we are his friend, we love him.
Now, this is the only thing I'm hopeful for, because AEW typically doesn't do this big of a plot hole, right? My hope is next week, Hangman scorch earths his friends and is like, what the fuck with all you guys? You weren't. And then we get the backstory of, dude, Blackpool Combat Club jumped us at the airport, or, you know, all this stuff. And Hangman never knew the difference, but he doesn't believe him now. And now he goes back into self-hate Hangman.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
You know?
Right.
That could be fun.
Could be.
We'll see.
We'll see.
So yeah, Danielson, great villain. That's basically what I wrote there. And then we get to our main event. As I mentioned earlier in this show, at the time, the best entrance of the year was Dominic Mysterio and his prison entrance. And it was good. And it was definitely a more grander entrance than what I'm about to talk about. However, the Ass Boys coming out to Mini Men by 50 Cent when everyone fucking hates them. That is the chef's kiss of the week.
Well, and just the whole, I mean, the spinning, like doing, and they're just, I mean, the Guns have come a long way too. The Guns.
Yeah, they definitely had a, we're not standing. They had a, well, fuck yeah, we're standing here. We're the fucking Guns. Like, stop calling us Ass Boys. We're the Guns. They're still Ass Boys. But like, we're the fucking Guns. Like, yeah, their confidence took a turn when you play 50 Cent behind them. That was fucking cool.
Yeah.
I don't know how much they paid for that, because they probably paid a pretty penny.
Probably.
But if Tony Khan can pay for that all the time, that needs to be their shit.
I
agree.
Needs
to be.
Yeah,
because that can even be used as a baby face, right? Let's say Colton Gunn gets taken out. It's just Austin Gunn. He goes up against the Blackpool Combat Club. Play that fucking song. Here's the Mini Men in the ring. Like, fucking
it was great.
Outstanding.
It was great.
Outstanding.
And they lost.
Well, and so I like this match, though, for how they lost, because the caveat here wasn't that the FTR had to lose, or excuse me, the FTR had to win. They had to win the championships.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So at every turn, the Ass Boys are doing low blows and trying to hit him with titles.
Beg the ref to not.
And FTR, Dax is, don't fucking cash this, don't fucking do it. And then to his discretion, he's like, fine, I won't do it. And kind of in a weird final spot, I thought they both pinned them.
An Ass Boy.
Yeah, which I guess is like doubly fuck yourself, you know. But FTR are now your second ever team to be your two-time AEW champions. The other ones being the Young Bucks, which feels appropriate. So what did you think of the main event, though, overall?
Again, I like the story being told, kind of as you said, right? With the, you can't disqualify them, please, right? Like, don't do this to us. And then, the story's fine, right? And the Guns have come a long way, but they're not, beat FTR cleanly, come a long way. So, yeah.
I think it was it was definitely a turning point for them. They lost the championships, but now maybe it's just my own perspective here, but with that entrance, with that performance, they do have the win over FTR in the past. They are former tag champs. Whatever they do next can be a little bit more credible. So if they go into a feud with Best Friends or I can't even think. No, they already did the Acclaimed, but any other babyface tag team, they will be we're the big dogs in this feud. So I like that for them moving forward.
Yeah, I agree.
So we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
And that was Dynamite.
That was Dynamite, and that was the week of wrestling, man. And it was so much, right? Sell of WWE, WrestleMania, RoH Supercard of Honor. We had quad tears. We had ankle breaks. We had...
You got to see, and I will say it again at the end of this episode, you got to go out and watch Eddie Kingston versus Claudio Castagnoli. That match was so good. And then you got to watch the post-match speech from Eddie Kingston because he loses it, and it's awesome.
And then you got to watch Shane McMahon ripping his quad. And that's what we'll leave you.
The Spanish announce table.